Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of the Storytime Society. I'm so happy you're here. I'm so glad you're alive. Thank you so much for tuning in. The theme of this episode is the Off My Chest subreddit, so let's get into it. The title of the first story is My Husband Had an Affair with My Little Sister. My life will never be the same after this. We've been married for 2 weeks. My 27-year-old husband has been found sleeping with my little sister behind my back. She's 17, legal age of consent, but she's still a baby. We just found out she's 1 month pregnant, but she refused to say who the father is. Yesterday, my parents asked me to come over. Apparently, they installed a monitoring app on her phone, and that's how they found out that he's the father. My sister is saying she's sorry over and over again. My husband also apologized, saying he made a mistake and wants us to go to counseling and stay married. I didn't say much. I told him I'm filing for divorce. I'm not changing my mind. I know for sure I'll never speak to him again after everything's over. As for my sister, I don't know. I honestly don't know. Nasty as hell. I don't care if it's the legal age of consent in your state. That's disgusting to me, and that's pedo behavior. The top comment is, check whether you can file for annulment rather than divorce. He married you under false pretenses while fathering a child with another woman. The dates will support the annulment. Also, although you won't want to hear this, get an STI test as you don't know who else he's been cheating on you with, and it's obvious that he wasn't using protection. Sending you a hug to help hold you together a little bit. I don't disagree at all with what you're saying, and she should 100% file for annulment. I just wanted to point out something about the dates. It's tricky to say for sure that she was pregnant before the wedding. If she's 1 month pregnant, that means the first 2 weeks of her pregnancy were before conceiving. Then she would have ovulated and conceived. Okay, whatever, that's scientific. What difference will an annulment mean rather than a divorce? Well, I think annulments are just easier, right? And then it's like, isn't an annulment where it's like it just disappears? This person said he's a pedo and a predator. He needs to go. Stay close to your family and try to work things out with your sister. There's no need to break up your family for some dirtbag. You deserve so much better than him. I second that 1,000,000 times. But there's an update, so we're going to read it. Update, my husband was arrested this morning. Thank you to everyone who read my first post and offered support. It feels like I'm living a nightmare. A lot more has happened, so I wanted to post an update. The day I posted, they took my sister to the police. She admitted that the relationship with my husband began when she was 15. She also said things became physical when she was 16. They had exchanged inappropriate messages and images, and the content on her phone matched everything that she told them. My soon-to-be ex knew she was pregnant. He was arrested at his job earlier today. Last night was the first time in a year that I went to bed and he wasn't there. It felt surreal. My dad, who is very religious, insists that my sister keep the baby. My mom believes she should have the choice to end the pregnancy. I've already contacted a lawyer for the annulment and emphasized that I want no more contact with him. There's nothing left to salvage. Even though my sister has apologized several times, she still believes that she's in love with him. My family is planning to start family counseling soon. It will be focused on figuring out how to move forward and what kind of relationship, if anything, I want to have with my sister. There are no clear answers right now. The support I've received from people here have helped me feel less alone. Thank you. She thinks she's in love with him, yeah, because she was 15 and he was grooming her. No kidding. And it's totally fine if you don't want to forgive her right away. Like, I don't think that she just deserves your forgiveness immediately because of that situation. Like, I do think that it's hard and it's going to be a hard situation to get through, but I think that is something that you should work towards, is forgiving her, because at the end of the day, she is a victim. Like, she really is a victim, and it sucks. The whole situation sucks, of course, because who wants to be in that situation? No one. At the end of the day, like, she's a victim, and I feel like that's the biggest thing. But at the same time, you're obviously going through something so sad that cuts so deep, and it's totally understandable if you can't forgive her right now and you just need some space to move on and heal alone, and then you can think about that later. But, like, of course, it's going to be a very hard, long journey. The top comment says, he's a monster, and I'm glad he's facing consequences, but I'm heartbroken for all of you who are impacted by how vile he is. I remember this story. Yikes, I'm so sorry you're going through this, but I'm glad he's facing the consequences. Best wishes to you. Wow, this is just awful. Praying for your family, and I hope your ex gets a long time in prison, that you and your family are able within time to get through this. Also, I just have to say, she should 100% be able to make her own decision with that pregnancy. I mean, obviously, that's my take on every single situation. I think that you should be able to, you have the choice no matter what. If you just don't want a baby, I think that's fine. You deserve to make the choice that you want to make with your body as it applies to being pregnant and having a child. And that's always going to be my stance in every situation. The title of the next story: I've been grieving my boyfriend for a year, and I found out he left behind more than I knew. It's been a year since I, 22 female, lost my boyfriend, 20 male. We were together for 6 years. He was my first real love, my best friend, the person I pictured my future with. When he died, it felt like the world stopped. I cried myself to sleep for months on end, and I talked to him like he could hear me. I'd begged the universe to give me one more day with him. Grief eventually became a part of me. Then a few weeks ago, everything shattered once again, but in a completely different way. Out of nowhere, a girl I didn't even know reached out to me and said she had something to tell me about my late boyfriend. Something important, and she wanted to meet up, and I agreed because I thought it was maybe something meaningful or comforting. Instead, she pulled out photos and proof and told me that he got her pregnant before he died. Their child is here now, alive, and the spitting image of my ex. She asked me if I wanted to meet the said baby, and that's when I lost it. I completely flipped the F out. All I could see was red. I've been grieving this man, crying over his memory, romanticizing our years together, all while he had been cheating on me behind my back. He died before I could ever know, before he could ever take responsibility, and now this woman was looking me in the eyes and asking if I wanted to meet the child he had with her. I could not believe it, to be honest. I told her off, probably more harsh than I should have, but I could not help it. It felt like everything I thought I knew was a lie. I don't even know what emotion hit me harder: anger, sadness, betrayal, or just pure disbelief. I've spent a year mourning the man that I thought I knew, and now I'm mourning the truth I never got the chance to confront him about. I don't even know how to begin healing from this. There's no closure, no explanation, just pain layered on top of pain. Everyone keeps saying, he's gone, there's nothing that you can do. But that doesn't erase the hurt. It doesn't erase the fact that the man I loved so deeply hurt me in a way I never saw coming, and I'll never get to ask him why. That's actually terrifying. Together for 6 years, and you were only 22 years old? That's like a third of your life. That's almost a third of your life. That's a long time at that young of an age to be with someone. And even younger for him, like he was 20 years old, so he was 14 years old and you were 16. Like that's such a long time to be together at that young of an age. So I cannot even imagine how hard that would be to process, and then also to process that he has a baby on top of all that. I feel like that's such a hard thing, and it's a very common thing as well for people to figure things out after their partner passes, and it just makes everything so much more complicated because it's like you're grieving someone, but then you also hate them at the same time, and they don't even get to try to redeem themselves or explain themselves. It's just like, what do you even do about that? There's nothing you can do because he's gone, and that sounds like my worst nightmare. The top comment says, wow, I was not expecting that. I'm really sorry that happened and you're going through it. OP said, I appreciate that. I'm like in a whole different state of shock. One of the things I thought about a lot is that he would never get a chance to be a dad. And then I hear that news. My life is literally a joke at this point. I hope this doesn't sound harsh, but you're only 22. You have only just begun to live. He may have been your first love, but there will be other ones. Cherish the love and memories. Forgive and grieve. Time is your best friend. You will come out of this stronger, I promise. That's exactly what I would say if I had to give any advice at all. It's like you're so young. Time truly does heal so much. And I always like to look at it as like that little drawing that's just like, it's a jar and it has a big scribble circle in it. And then there's another jar and another jar. And it's like a small, medium, large jar. And it's like the grief stays the same, but you grow as a person. So it's not like grief goes away, but you grow and it just gets a little bit easier to deal with. and it just gets a little bit farther away. But that doesn't make it any less sad. That doesn't make it any less heartbreaking. But time really does help so much in so many scenarios. Like, I wouldn't go as far as to say that time heals all, but I think time heals most. The title of the next story says, 36 weeks pregnant and I've changed my mind. I don't know what to say or how to word this. I'm 9 months pregnant, but from the early days, I've had thoughts of not keeping this child. I hate my boyfriend of 3 years and everything else about my situation. I brushed those thoughts off as intrusive. I was probably just trying to convince myself that those thoughts were fake. I also hear from my therapist and others that hating your partner while pregnant is normal, but this doesn't feel like that. I've hated him for a long time and just been going through the motions. Even before becoming pregnant, I felt like I've wasted years on a relationship where we don't even like each other anymore. I'm due in 4 weeks or less, and I already planned on not allowing any visitors at all. I honestly want to surrender the baby at the hospital, and if family or friends ask, I'd lie and say it died. I know I'm terrible. The baby doesn't even have a name, and I have no bond like I did in my first pregnancy. I feel like I hate this baby, and that's not fair to the baby if I keep it. I don't know. I don't know if I want advice or if I just wanted to get this out of my head. Give it up for adoption. I think that's the only solution really, but I probably wouldn't say that it died. I mean, personally, I think that's a little bit fucked up to say that a baby died when they really didn't, because that's just like trying to erase the existence of this human being, and they're also a human being. I think that adoption would be the best scenario for you. Like, unless your boyfriend wants to keep the baby and you're not involved, or I don't know, you definitely have to talk to your partner about that, because that's something that you guys need to figure out. I don't think that it's fair to the baby at all if you keep the baby when you hate the baby and you don't want the baby. The top comment says, if you've hated him that long, you will hate him even more, watching him try to parent every day. It sounds like the relationship is over. And then someone said, or try to actively avoid parenting, as is the case with many men who make women pregnant. You shouldn't feel guilty if you decide to give up the baby. Just please keep in mind that he has parental rights, so you may not be able to just surrender the baby at the hospital. If he doesn't want to relinquish his parental rights so that you can give the baby up for adoption, are you okay with relinquishing your parental rights so that he would be the only legal parent? Also, depending on how all this goes, you may end up paying him child support. Just do your research before you make a decision so you're not surprised by anything later. If you want extra content weekly, head over to patreon.com/storytimesociety and become a member on there for extra content. Love you. I agree. I don't think that you should feel guilty for that. I think that it's totally fine, and that's why adoption is an option, and it's okay. The title of the next story is, I ruined my best friendship because I caught feelings, and now I have to pretend I'm okay. We've been best friends since high school. He was always the goofy, chaotic one, and I was the anxious, responsible one. Somehow it worked. We went through everything together. Family drama, breakups, college, moving out. We used to joke that we were basically married without the sex. Except I caught feelings. Hard. It started slow, little things, how he remembered I hate ketchup on anything, how he'd send me videos of puppies when I was sad, how he'd wait outside my work in his car just to walk me home when it was dark out. It was innocent, but my brain twisted it into something else. I never told him, mostly because I knew that he didn't feel the same. He talked to me about his dating life all the time, and I played the supportive best friend role like an idiot while dying inside. I'd help him pick out outfits for the dates, give him advice, listen to stories about how amazing some girl was while pretending that it didn't break me. And then one night, he got drunk and said, "You know, if I ever settle down, I hope it's with someone like you." I wanted to scream. Someone like me? Not me. I finally snapped when he brought his new girlfriend to our weekly hangout. She was nice. Too nice, and he looked happy with her. I excused myself to go to the bathroom, cried for 10 minutes, came back and told him I wasn't feeling well and left. That was 2 months ago. Since then, I've ghosted him. Not completely, but enough that he knows something is wrong. He's texted, called, left me a voicemail saying that he misses me, and I just don't answer. I don't know how to explain that I ruined the one friendship that actually made me feel safe and seen because I got greedy and wanted more. Now I'm just this hollow version of myself, missing someone that I still love, and trying to convince myself I made the right choice by walking away. I feel stupid and I miss him so much it hurts. I think if he's not in a relationship, you should tell him your feelings for him, because I feel like it's better to admit the feelings that you have for him and communicate those feelings that you have for him than just to ghost him and let him think like, oh, your friendship's over. Because either way, it's either you lose the friendship because you ghost him and you don't talk to him anymore, or you take a risk. Maybe he ends up liking you back and then you end up dating and you could live happily ever after. I think it's worth giving it a shot, in my opinion. The top comment says, you didn't ruin it. Once you knew you had feelings and he didn't, that was the end. You did the best thing for you by walking away. Staying, watching him love someone else would be absolute torture. It'll take time and distance. Eventually your pain will ease up and you'll stop constantly thinking about him. You're definitely not alone in what you feel. Walking away is so very hard. Opie said, thank you so much for saying that. I've been stuck in my own head thinking I overreacted or gave up too soon. But you're right. Staying would have just hurt more. I know it's going to take time, but hearing stuff like this really helps. You should tell him what you've told us, that you fell in love with him, but no, he doesn't feel the same way about you and you're sorry you can no longer be friends. That way it gives him some peace, because he probably thinks he did something wrong to offend you. Yes, it will probably be embarrassing, but it's the right thing to do. Opie said, yeah, I've actually been thinking about that a lot. I don't want him sitting there wondering what happened or thinking he messed up. It's just hard to find the right words without completely falling apart, you know? But I think you're right. It might give both of us some closure. Yes. You only live once. I feel like I'd much rather just tell someone how I felt and risk it than regret that I didn't tell them and regret it forever. I feel like that's way worse than the feeling of rejection, because rejection is so normal. You're going to be rejected, but feeling guilt and regret sucks. And that's like not something that you want to deal with for the rest of your life, especially when you don't know what his response would be. I get that you were saying like you think that he wouldn't feel the same, but maybe he does feel the same. And maybe he just didn't want to tell you. And maybe that's why he made that comment of like, I wish I ended up with someone like you. Because he could very well mean like, I wish I ended up with you, but I just feel like we're just friends. So maybe, you know, he could also be thinking the same thing. I don't know. I feel like it's definitely worth saying something rather than holding that in and always regretting not saying anything. The title of the next story says, I watched my ex fall in love with someone else while I was still sleeping in his bed. I don't even know where to start. We were together for 4 years. We lived together, shared groceries, had a shared Spotify playlist, all the things that make it feel permanent, even when it's not. The breakup wasn't some dramatic blow up. We had been drifting. He said he needed some space, and I said okay. But the lease wasn't up, so we agreed to just coexist for a while. Separate bedrooms, separate lives, supposedly, but he kept inviting me to movie nights, kept bringing me coffee on the weekends. He still called me babe by accident. I thought maybe it was just a phase. I thought maybe space would help and we'd find our way back. And then she started showing up, a new coworker. He swore nothing was going on, but I saw the way he looked at his phone when she texted, the way he shaved before work when he never used to, the way his face changed when he talked about her like he was waking up from something. And all the while, I was still in that apartment, still folding my laundry next to his, still cooking dinner alone while he stayed out late working. I don't think I've ever felt smaller than I did in those months, invisible in my own home. He finally told me they were dating, said he didn't want to lie, and said that he thought I already knew. And yeah, I did, but it still broke me. I moved out last week. I'm crashing with a friend while I figure things out. I'm angry, hurt, but mostly I'm just tired. It's hard grieving someone who's still alive, still in the world, still walking around with your favorite mug and your memories. I don't want advice. I just needed to say this out loud. Living with your ex actually sounds so torturous, but I know so many people that have had to live with their exes, because obviously it's like you can't just, so many people, it's hard, especially in this day and age when the damn rent is $7,000 per fucking square foot. It's actually insane. And my friend actually lived with her ex when they broke up. They lived together for a year after they broke up. And that sounds torturous to me, because having to get over someone that you're still cohabitating with, I would rather pull out my teeth one by one, because that's so hard to get over someone when they're in your sight all the time. You're coming home to them all the time, and just like, that you're slowly drifting apart, or at least they're drifting apart from you, but you still love them and you still want to be with them. Oh my God, the way because my heart aches already as it is in a breakup. I'm not good at going through breakups. So I can't even imagine having to live in the same space. If I had to live in the same space when me and my boyfriend were going through, and I was going through my last breakup, I think I'd sleep on the beach, like in a tent, for probably months, honestly, because I could not even stand to do that. I don't know how people do that. Like, you're so strong for doing that, because the way that you would, just that feeling of being like so gut wrenching and there's nothing you can do about it. I would be bawling my eyes out in the room next to him. Wild to even think about. I don't even want to think about that. That makes me actually want to cry. That makes me want to actually cry right now, and I feel so bad. But at the same time, I know that it's going to be okay. And it sucks going through breakups, but if you're going through a breakup, it's going to be okay. It's going to feel like the world is ending. Yes, that's so normal. And I feel like I found comfort in knowing that it was normal to feel like the world was ending, that most people felt like the world was ending. And yeah, it's like a split second of comfort. And then after that, it's like another gut wrenching thought about the fact that we're never going to see each other again, or like we are never going to be together again. But just knowing that it's normal to feel like your world is ending, your world is falling apart, nothing's ever going to be good again, or nothing's ever going to be happy again. Knowing that other people feel that way, and that it's such a common thing, and that you're not the only one that goes through that like 90% of people that go through breakups feel that way, made me feel so much better, because it's like, okay, so 90% of these people felt that way, but then they ended up being okay again. They ended up finding love again, or they ended up just being happy again, and it was all okay. And I love that I've gone through experiences like that, so that I know if anything ever happens again, that I will be okay. And it's okay if the world just ends for a little bit, and then slowly things get better and time will heal. But that's really hard. But that's the end of this episode. I hope that you guys enjoyed. These were short little stories, but they're all new Off My Chest stories, so I really wanted to read them, because Off My Chest subreddit and True Off My Chest subreddit, and also the Confessions subreddit, I really like those three, because I love like hearing deep confessions that people have to make. But I hope that you enjoyed, and let me know what your thoughts are, as always, because I want to hear what's going on in that brain of yours, okay? I love you, and I'll talk to you in the next episode. Bye, sissies. My merch is out. Yeah, but this is it, and this comes in pink, black, and white. If you want to get a little cute piece of merch, go grab one. Link is in the description to purchase. Love you guys. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.